What's up YouTube, Juggernaut1 here. Sorry I haven't made a video in a while. Past few weeks have been really messed up due to the hurricane, and I haven't had a chance to get up a video until now, or at least, I'm still having that issue of figuring out what kind of content I want to post, because there's not a whole lot to talk about. So when it comes to like decks I want to profile or regional reports, I'm definitely going to give you guys that. But yeah, otherwise for now, just going to do what I can, not really going to go by a schedule or anything. I went to a regional yesterday at Stratford, Connecticut. From what you can tell here, I obviously ran Gladiator Beast. A friend of mine, we were planning, my friend Andrew and I, we were discussing what deck we wanted to play. I told him I was looking to play something else other than Agents, and he wanted to try other decks as well, so we ended up just kind of going through our options, and he was testing Gladiator Beast and basically explained to me why he thought it was so good and he was finding good success with it on dueling networks. So I went along with it, and by the time the regional came, we had a pretty solid list. Our lists were only one card apart because honestly, almost every suggestion he made, I ultimately agreed with, although I was skeptical at first. So yeah, I was skeptical, but it ultimately worked out. I ended up, unfortunately, though, only going X3, and finished in 59th place. So disappointing, but things happen. I ended up losing rounds 1, 5, and 6. I'm hoping the next regional I go to ends up a bit differently, but we'll see what happens. I think that's not going to be, though, for like another month or two. I don't think it's going to be till January, so until then I'm just going to kind of keep preparing, have fun, see what kind of profit I can make from locals and such, and we'll go from there. But yeah, I don't want to waste any more of your time. I'm just going to get to the deck. There are a few changes I would make. There were some changes I should not have made last minute. I think in terms of the side deck, there were some changes I wish I'd made that Ollie will explain that I will explain like as I get to it. But yeah, let's go to the monsters first. So for the monsters, we have 2 Laquari. Pretty straightforward. I always tag down to this a lot because when you don't have really a better play to make, bringing out a 2100 beat stick is good. Double quest. Ooh, my bad. Quest, really good. I like running 2. 1 is like okay, but I like running 2 because I can have 1 quest recycle the other, and I think that's actually can be a very strong play at times. Double Darius, kind of the same thing. 1 can bring back the other, make instant Esadari plays, or rank 4 plays, whichever you want. So he works. And then the one-ofs, Bestiari, Murmillo, and Retiari. And that's it for the GBs. For the rest of the monsters, we played 3 Thunder King. As much as I have never really been a fan of 3 Thunder King, he put in so much work yesterday that it's not even funny. He just won games all by himself, and he was just a very solid turn 1 opening play if I didn't, over a GB monster. A GB monster isn't bad turn 1, but in many cases I prefer to have it turn 2 because it's like usually I just have a way of protecting it turn 1, and I'm more focused on protecting it first for attacks as opposed to Thunder King. And then the one tech that was really Andrew's suggestion was Tsukuyomi. But personally, I would cut it out completely. It really did nothing for me. I never found it was that useful. And I think Grand Mole would have been better than this in the main. But honestly, I think I would have just been better off playing a 3rd Laquari instead, just to have a 10th GB monster. So yeah, that's it for the monsters. Spells, we have 2 Proving Ground. Not 3, because 3 kind of clogs. 2 is just enough. 3 Lance. Would not play GBs without 3 Lance. Lance is really overpowered. It's just a really strong card. Being able to protect your monster from all speller traps for the turn. it can just be so critical. It also makes it, you all can also make your bestiary plays with a lot less fear thanks to this card. 2 Soul Taker. I personally think from my experience with GB, not just from this past week, but from my past experience with it, that the deck's biggest problem was big monsters already on board. So I felt 2 Soul Taker was a very good idea in the main board, and surely enough it was. It ended up putting in a lot of work. I had a lot of situations where I was able to make an important tag out because of Soul Taker, mainly against like decks like Dark World, for example. That really helped me out a lot. And then for the one, I was Book of Moon, Dark Hole, and Monster Reborn. Did not play heavy for obvious reasons, and Book, this is one of the few decks I think that can actually get away with playing Book, because it actually does put in, it can be useful at times. I don't think Book's as useful in other decks. And then for the traps. Now, I obviously played a lot of traps because it's GB, but I played more than, say, the guy who topped with GBs at Providence. 3 War Chariot, kind of the staple. I really could not see myself playing any less than 3. This card is so good, it's not even funny. I love this card so much. I really wish I'd seen it. I saw it more during the regional, but oh well. Probably the card that's tied for it is one of the best traps in the deck, Safe Zone. Even though Safe Zone, I will say I kind of tend to decide one out at times, this card is very good against various matchups, or I should say almost every matchup. Being able to protect GB and then tag out as a result is useful, and there were a few times where I was able to pop my opponent's monsters with this card as a result. It was actually surprisingly good in the mirror. Double Warning, kind of staple, simple stuff. Double Bottomless. Double Deep Prison, you know, standard traps. Double Compulse. These were originally going to be Wabakus, but Andrew suggested we make these Compulses, and surely enough, this did work out a lot. Wabaku can be dependent on whether or not I have monsters. Compulse can do a lot more, so I think it was probably better that I played it, even though I think Wabaku would still have been useful to at least a certain degree. 2 Starlight Road, I really do want to be able to comfortably settle my back row, and the 1 Solemn Judgment. So that's it for the main deck, 40 cards. I really did not feel comfortable playing 41. I felt if I could play 40, I'm just going to get away with it. For the extra deck, Double Geysers, you really don't need to play anymore. 1 Esadari, I think I should have played 2 of this card, because there are situations where because if they destroy the first one, you do want to have a way of bringing out the second one. You know, that's just kind of how it is sometimes. 1 Heraclinos, I wish I brought him out once, but I did not. Double Stardust for the Starlight Roads. You know, makes sense. Levier. Marigeist, this wasn't necessary at all. Zenmains, Pearl, Papilloperative, Utopia, Desigma, I also didn't really need this. I made a mistake in my deck list, but whatever. And Maestroke, which was probably the only rank 4 I actually brought out the entire tournament. And this was a Steel Swarm Roach, which I didn't even need either. I don't know why I even bothered trying to borrow one. So yeah, that was basically it. I think the only card I would have just tried to make room for is Abyss Dweller, because it's good against decks like Dark World and it's very useful, and you know, you have the space. For the side deck, I sided 1 Grand Mole. It's very good against my bad matchups. It's good if I am playing a deck that plays a bunch of floaters and just kind of can lock them down, so I don't have to keep running over their monsters. 1 Kinetic Soldier, I had an extra spot. I thought this would be good for heroes and 6 Sams, which I never ended up facing, so oh well. Triple MS, ooh, that's not supposed to be there. Triple MST, because games 2 and 3, I'm always worried about, you know, cards that my opponent's going to side in against me. Usually I only sided in 2. I only sided in 3 against decks I was really worried about, like Dark World. Triple D-Fissure. This could have been Macrocosmos, but we wanted to have a card that, kind of the same reason why I sided D-Fissure in Be Stun. D-Fissure stops decks that side in Royal Decree and Royal Decree won't stop this card from being used, so it can be very punishing. Whereas Macro hurts us a bit more, and the only two decks that would have really been useful against were that D-Fissure doesn't hit were, I believe, Prophecy, the Spellbook deck, and what was the other one? Oh, and Insectors. We sided a Seal of Orichalcos. This was basically kind of for bad matchups, for decks that kind of have constant beaters that we just want to be able to get over. Traps, we sided 2 Torrential, 2 Trap Stuns, and 2 Mirror Force. The part of the problem, I think, with this side deck was that I think I should have sided in. I think the Trap Stuns were good. They were very powerful. I think the Mirror Forces shouldn't have been in there. I think I should have sided something that was a bit more hate specific, because I sided in these generic cards, and it was kind of hard to figure out. And as a result, I wasn't, like Mirror Force, didn't side in very much because I really wasn't sure what. I found myself having trouble making room for it. Figuring out, okay, what card should I take out for it? It was a challenge, and it was kind of frustrating. So I think I'd do it a little differently. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the deck profile. Will I continue playing this deck? I'm not sure. I still think the deck is very much competitive, regardless of what people say. I definitely, I was telling my friend who really likes Gladiator Beast, regardless of my opinions on it, I think you should give it a shot, because deck is good. Deck has a lot of positive things about it, and there's no real one card that a person can side in that hurts it. If they side in Prohibition, that's a problem, but at the same time, it's only a real problem if they have 2 cards out that can be a problem against you, like say Prohibition and Messenger of Peace, or Prohibition and Level Limit Area B. So aside from that, you're not. Your matchups are mostly favorable. So yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed the report. I will probably leave a link to my Duelist Grounds report as well, if you guys want a more in-depth explanation of what happened. And I'll see you next time. Peace.